All this dope I stepped on, real get the rush gone. Been that nigga, what else you want? Power, powder, respect. I want that money and power and power.
Top of the tippy. Hey, what's going on? This is your boy, Mr. Keeyzo. And I'm sitting here with a very talented young lady. She's actually like my niece. I watched her grow up her whole life. But I want to welcome Maya Clark to the Keeyzo Corner Show. What's up, Maya?
Hey, Uncle Keith. How's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. Now, you know how we do it here, right? We chop it up like, it's not really an interview, but it's basically a conversation. So we're going to have a conversation today, right?
Yes.
And, you can ask me things. I'm going to ask you things, and we just going to talk it out. But so my first question to you is, I know you were into basketball and you were going to be this big NBA, WNBA star. What happened with that? What happened? Did you lose interest or what happened?
I did. I think I lost interest when I was in high school. But when I was in high school, I actually got to play against some of the top players that were in the nation at the time. I graduated high school in 2017, which to me sounds like forever ago. And then my high school actually was not accredited through the NCAA. So to play, I was a credit and a half short.
Wow.
So I was going to go to Bowie State, and their program was perfect for me. I was so excited.
Uh-huh.
And then once I found out that you could only make up one credit, I was so over it. So then I went to Florida and tried to make up my credit, but wasn't able to do so. So then I went the JUCO route and went all the way to Los Angeles. And went to East Los Angeles Community College, and they have a Netflix show about it called Last Chance U.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's a pretty good show, and I was happy to be in a couple scenes and get to know everybody. Everybody there is so great.
I just knew I was going to see you at the WNBA. I used to, Trevor used to send me all the pictures of you and your uniforms and everything, and he always used to tell me, hey, let it get her the model for FUBU. I think I sent you some stuff. Did I ever send you some stuff? No.
No, you would send pictures and everything, but my dad is so crazy, he probably forgot.
Yeah, I got to get you some stuff. I think I might have some stuff at home for you. So you switch gears, and now you're doing modeling.
Yes.
First of all, how tall are you?
I'm 5'10" and a half, but if you ask my dad, I'm 6'2". So it just depends on who you ask.
Oh, don't ask your dad, because he stay lying.
But he's always lying for the right reasons.
Right,
so I
right.
appreciate that. And he's so funny. Oh my goodness.
So you are now modeling, and you've walked your first New York fashion show.
Oh my goodness. Yes, I did. And I had a great time. But look, you set the bar high when you walked your first New York Fashion Week.
Yeah. I did a little strut. I was out there doing my. I've been in the business 31 years. That was the first time I've ever walked a show. I've always came out at the end of our shows, and we didn't do many fashion shows. You might have done about no more than 10 throughout the 31 years.
That's so crazy to me, because FUBU is this world-renowned brand that's not only in our community is it big, but it's it changed the fashion world.
Right.
And people don't realize it. When I think of FUBU, because I was lucky enough to grow up in the FUBU family.
Right.
Because my dad started out modeling with y'all.
Yeah.
It's like a full circle moment.
I always tease him about that too. I said, you started out as a model, Trev. Now you're doing sales and everything else, so.
Which is crazy. So you guys set the standards high. So when I got out there, and the most recent show that I did was for a production called Emerge.
Right.
And they were honoring some other trailblazers
April Walker, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
she's amazing.
Listen, April Walker is like my sister. I love her to death. I met her when we first started. I met her and her sisters who are lovely. And we just became great friends over the years. And I actually went out to support her. They celebrated her the other night at Brooklyn Chop House.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was telling you I was going, right? So
Yeah.
I went and celebrated her there because, you know, like I said, she's always, and we always do this thing where we take selfie pictures. Like, it's like, hey, we got to get a picture at this event. We got to get a picture at that
Yes.
event. But she's a phenomenal woman. She's a trailblazer. She set the bar high for women in fashion.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so she's always a person that I would love to see, you know, just do her thing and be successful. So, you know, kudos to April Walker.
Yeah, she's amazing. They had her walk the runway also,
Oh,
and
she
she
walked?
did her
Okay.
thing. Oh my
I
goodness,
know
it
she
was
did.
amazing. And I was watching from behind the scenes. They had her walk, Sergio Hudson walk, and Dapper Dan walk, and
Dapper Dan walked?
yes,
Oh, really? Okay.
it was amazing.
All
I
right.
was impressed.
Because we did a drip fashion show early this year, and April was there. She walked it. She came out at the end and walked. Dap sat over to the side. He didn't walk, or even come out at the end of his show, like they usually do. So, but it was funny because I was doing that show, and during the rehearsal, the models would walk in and they was all stiff, and I was like, okay, you can walk for those people like that, but when you wear our clothes, I need you to kind of diddy bop and give a little swag with it. I don't want the normal,
Yeah.
just up there walking all, model-ish, So I kind of, in April, once again, she pushed me, Keith, go out there and show them how to walk. So I did this walk, and when I watched it prior to doing the Actively Black show, I was like, wow, you know what? I'm going to do that same walk. But this time, I asked him what we were wearing. He gave me what we were wearing, and I matched it up with my Puma sneakers. And then I was like, okay, our FUBU hat, we just launched the 30th anniversary of the FUBU hat, last year. And the red one is the most iconic color, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I said, okay, I'm going to put the red one on that goes with the fit. I'm going to put it on. So when I put it on, I said, you know what? Let me put the hoodie on because it said for us, by us. I'm going to put the hoodie on, and then I'm just going to kind of unveil it on the runway.
Oh,
and people went
man.
crazy. I went out the other night, and so many people, I didn't even know all these people were there. I didn't see anybody there because I was backstage the whole time. But, it was great. But so Emerge, you how many times did you come out? What did you wear?
Oh my goodness. So originally I was only supposed to come out once and just walk for Curray London.
Okay.
And I ended up getting picked up by Seti Johnson.
Okay.
And ended up walking for him also. So
What
was
was your experience like? How did you like? Because New York Fashion Week is one of the biggest fashion weeks ever. I mean, I know they're doing it in Los Angeles and other places, but New York Fashion Week is the biggest.
I feel like New York is a place to be. Like, oh my goodness, it was crazy. So when I first got out there, the shoes that I had on, I was like, all right, when we were doing this practice run, I'm like, let me make sure I'm not slipping because I'm really getting my confidence back from tearing my Achilles from when I played.
Right.
So, and then I got there on stage and I was like, wait, this feels really good. Like being out here, like, it's just like the feeling is just so surreal. Like, it's like when you're up there, it's just, there's no other feeling like it.
No, it's not. It's not.
Oh my goodness.
And I remember us doing our first fashion show for New York Fashion Week when we first came out back in the days. And it was like we spent a ton of money on the models, being in the fashion show, getting the product right. And then it was like 7 minutes. It was over in like 7 minutes. And we had so many clothes, but you would have thought it would have took 20 minutes to get out there. It was over in 7 minutes. And we were like, wow, we spent all that money. And it lasted 7 minutes. But it was one of our best shows to have the footage from because it showed all the different things that we had. And we had some great models who are still friends to us today. But do you plan on making this your, because I'm saying I'm seeing you walking this runway, often or doing modeling often. You take very beautiful pictures. I've seen pictures over the years of you. You think you're gonna make this your living?
Oh, that's so sweet. And yes, 110%. I love this. Like, I feel so comfortable, and I honestly feel like this transition. I feel like it's so perfect. Like it's meant to be. Like I really want to get into like the entertainment industry also.
Okay.
With like acting and also doing things like behind the scenes. Because my mom was actually she did production coordination for the Wayans Brothers show.
Yeah, I remember.
And she worked with people like Usher and Tupac and a whole bunch of other like names that like you would see today and just be like, oh my goodness.
Right.
So I got to like witness some of the amazing things that she did, not through her, but through her friends.
Right.
And once they just like took me under their wing and showed me some of like how the tapings went, I just fell in love with that also. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
had a little acting bug for a while. I did a couple of movies, but I think my problem was I was really too busy with the clothing to like really get out there. I didn't have a problem like taking any role though. If whatever role was available that I can play, it wasn't like, oh, I'm Keith from FUBU, I can't take that role. Like I was like, you need me to be a stand-in? What do you call it?
extra?
Extra?
Yes.
You want me to be an extra? I'll be an extra. Because my thing was, this is a new field. So I was trying to make sure that I connected with everybody and I humbled myself and learned, because even being an extra, I've been on 1,000 video sets over the years, and I'm one of those people who, I've done product placement for, tons of videos. So I got to learn how production works. And I always say, I try to run things like a production, even though I have a person here that handles this, I have a person here that handles that. But I try to run it like a production because I've always seen it run so smoothly. Like they have everybody on set does something particular and they do it well. But it runs like a well-oiled machine. But I just didn't have the time because I was traveling and I was doing all this stuff. But I love the way production works. So I thought I was like, okay, and then everybody was like, you should act. And I remember one time I paid this, I gave this acting coach like $3,500, and she's supposed to give me I think it was like 10 classes. I might have done like 3 classes, and then she came back to me one day and she was like, "You ready for the big time?" And I'm looking at her like, "What?" And I want to give kudos to my acting coach, Sheik. He is a method actor, so he taught method acting, and once I sat down with him and I learned how to really channel my feelings and my reactions, and I was like, wow, this is totally different. Like, with her, she was like, oh, you ready for the big time? But when I got to him, he was like, no, you need some work, So, but yeah, I would love to see you do some movies. How long are you going to be in New York? You going to stay in New York, or what are you doing?
So I like to go back and forth because I'm staying with my grandma right now over in Brooklyn, but I have family in Maryland.
Right.
So since I grew up in Maryland, I like to travel and always see.
Maryland.
I know, I sound so country. Oh man, look.
You got the year.
Look, the people from Baltimore. Look, if you're from Baltimore, you see this. I'm not from Baltimore. Look,
Okay.
they know that Baltimore is not Maryland.
Right,
And people
okay.
from Maryland are like, we are not from Baltimore. Baltimore is not Maryland.
That's crazy. Like, I don't even associate. Well, it's the same here because if you're from New York and New Jersey, they like right next to each other. But you'd be like, I'm from New York. So
And the boroughs too. Like if you're from Brooklyn and somebody's like, oh, you from the Bronx? They're gonna be like, the Bronx.
Yeah,
No.
I'm from Brooklyn, son. You know what I mean? I'm from Brooklyn, son. So, but good. That's going to be back and forth. Well, you always got a home here whenever you want to come out here and do anything. And we got the office. If you want to come and work with us here, we can find something for you to do around here.
I know. I love I feel like I was really so blessed to be a part of the FUBU family and be born into this because I think now that I'm older and I always appreciated it, but now just being able to look back and see all of the amazing things that y'all have done. Cause I look at the fashion shows that I saw something that my Uncle Tim Thomas had walked in.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm like,
even Tim Thomas. Shout out to my man Tim Thomas. One of our models, but became a close friend as well. But yeah, Tim used to model for us too.
Oh man, I'm like, because of y'all, I have these amazing male figures in my life So as a woman, I feel like it's so important to have men in your life that you can look up to and
Yeah.
like see what a man is supposed to be. And because of FUBU,
Uh-huh.
I have that.
Right.
So I'm like, my dad did something right. So I'm like, thank goodness.
So I know you wanted to ask me some questions. What do you want to ask me? Because I know you have some
Yes.
questions for me. What's up?
So I wanted to really know, like, I know that you grew up with all the founders.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you guys actually meet?
Well, I think. Well, I don't think. I know. Damon and Carl lived a couple of doors apart, so they met at an early age, around 6 or 7, something like that. Jay lived about 4 blocks away from them, so they were all like in the neighborhood. I grew up in Queens Village, aka Shadyville, but my grandmother and both my grandmothers lived in the Hollis area. Well, one lived in St. Albans, one lived in Queens Village, but they were like a block away from Hollis, you know. So that whole area, I went to school with a lot of people out there. But when I finally when I went to high school, I met Dame. But I didn't meet them until the 11th grade. Like I went in the 10th grade, and I was really mad at my moms for like not putting me in Andrew Jackson where everybody in my school went. She's like, no, you're not going to Andrew Jackson. You're gonna have to go to, Bayside. I want you to go to Bayside. And I'm like, Bayside? What the hell? You gonna send me away to Bayside? And it was like literally like if I lived here, I would have to go all the way uptown to Harlem to go to school.
Oof.
And Andrew Jackson was, across town, So she put me in Bayside, and I didn't like the school. I didn't like the fact that I was there. I didn't like I didn't really have any friends that, from my school that was there. I had to make all new friends. So, and then I was in the street at the time, so I was running around. I used to come to school drunk, and I would leave school. I would come to school around 9 o'clock, which I was supposed to be there like 8:30. Then I would leave around 11:30 and go home or go somewhere because I couldn't go back around my way because all the older dudes would kick me in my butt and tell me to go back to school. But I wound up failing the whole, I just failed like every class in 10th grade. Like my report card was like all red, right? So when I came home that summer, when I, got my report card, my mother just looked at me and she's like, I know you smarter than this. I know for a fact you smarter than this. What is going on? And I told her, I said, I don't really like the school, and I don't got no friends there like that. And she was like, well, you're going to have to figure it out. But prior to leaving for that summer, they gave us a pamphlet for the cooperative program. So the cooperative program or the co-op program, you go to school a week and you go to work a week. So I was like, Ma, you got to get me in this program. I'm telling you, you got to get me in this program. So she wound up signing me up for the program, and that's how I met Damon and Jay, because they were in the co-op program too.
That's crazy.
And then in the co-op program, you don't have, how in high school, you go from different classes. So you might be in one class with a whole bunch of people, then the next class is a whole bunch of other different people. It's not the same people. In the co-op program, it's the same people in every class.
Oh, wow.
So you go from math class with the same people to English class with the same people, like you go to the same classes, right? So I did that for a couple of years, and then and that's how I met those guys. And then when we got out of high school, before we got out of high school, we used to go on tour with LL Cool J and do all these things, and Run DMC's having a tour. We over there, being that we knew so many people from Hollis and the OGs. They would make sure we had passes and backstage passes and all that. So, excuse me, that's how I really got the bug for music and then just loving hip-hop and the culture and everything like that. So, long story short, once we got out of high school, we just started hanging together. We just hung together. And then 2.5 years out of high school is when Damon came in with this idea of making these tie-top hats, and then it turned into FUBU, and then we did that. So, and that's the story about that.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
I guess moms know best always.
Yeah. She knew I was smarter than that. I just was being ignorant and trying to. I don't know if I was trying to fail everything so she could take me out of the school or what. I don't know, but I know it hurt me at the end because I was I was one credit short. I was one. I made up the credits, but my social studies teacher, I used to go in there in the morning. I used to think I was gonna do my homework in the back, and then he'd be watching. And, what you doing? He would come and then, oh no, and then, or he would say, "Give me your homework at the beginning." He used to say it at the end. Then he started saying it at the beginning, and now my homework wasn't done, and I was failing. And then, so when I was talking to someone in the school, pulled me to the side, and he was like, "You're not gonna graduate." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he said, "You failed. You're gonna fail social studies. So then you need that class to graduate. So if you fail, if he gives you a failing grade, you're gonna have to, make it up." So I said, "What do you mean make it up?" He's like, "You're gonna have to make it up to get your diploma." I said, "Okay, what about graduation? Could I walk in graduation? Because if I don't go to graduation, it's gonna be a problem." So I walked to graduation with the fake little blank paper that they had, and then I had to go back to night school to finish to take that class over, and I wound up getting a 95 in that class. Like
wow.
I couldn't do that in school. I didn't like the teacher. I really didn't like the teacher. He was just one of those mean teachers that I didn't care for. And back then I had an attitude problem because where I grew up and how I grew up, I was really angry. I was an angry young man, but I pulled it together. And
I feel like that's what matters. I feel like your story is so inspirational. Like, I feel like there's a lot of kids that do that nowadays that but once they look at you, they can see that even though I messed up.
I have a really great story. He's trying to sit down and do this FUBU documentary. I don't know if it's ever gonna happen. So I'm gonna start working on my own documentary and putting my stuff together because, I do have an amazing story that needs to be told, and I can't wait till I'm 95 years old to tell it. So
right.
I want to tell it, within the next few years. And then my partners at U42, we talked about doing a documentary, so they're on board. So hopefully we'll get it done.
I feel like the FUBU documentary. Apparently, I can't talk. The FUBU documentary would be one for the books. Like
Yeah,
FUBU
I
and
think
hip-hop
so too.
go hand in hand, and even nowadays, we just saw Drake wearing a FUBU shirt the other day. It's still here. It's still prevalent. FUBU is still it.
I think we've made a mark in the culture where it became more than just the clothing. It became about a movement. It was like looking at these four young African American men coming together, staying out of trouble, doing something good, being successful in business, giving back to their community, and just being a great group of guys that people can relate to. The clothing, it will always be synonymous with hip hop and the culture. I remember back in the days when I first started doing product placement, and we was just joking with your father on the phone about that. He used to, because he know what I went through, and I used to be in the trenches.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Of these neighborhoods. I would fly to Houston. I remember, I'll tell you a quick story. I flew to Houston, and Pimp C had just came home. So he was doing a video. Him and Bun were doing a video. So I told Bun, I'm going to fly out there. I'm going to bring y'all all this clothes. Da, 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 da. So I get on the flight. I get out there, and, I got my rollie on. I got my chain on. And I'm driving. I'm thinking, we going to a set. I ain't really worrying about it. So we get to this set, and it's it's the hood. And it was 100 guys out there. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I jump out, right? And when I jump out, my chain swings and slaps me in my chest. But everybody's already standing around. I jump out in front of everybody. So I was like, oh. And I'm like, damn, I ain't mean to jump out here. Because sometimes, if I'm by myself, I don't really tuck my jewelry. But if I pull up to a place where, I don't know anybody but a couple of people, so I got out, I looked, I was like, whatever. However it's gonna go down, it's gonna go down. And when I got out there, Pimp C saw me get out. He was like, "Hey man, Hey man, make up Keith from FUBU, pull up, man. So he grabbed me, and then the first thing he said, I guess he saw the chain, because I didn't say nothing to him, but he was like, hey, this my man from FUBU, and then not one of you motherfuckers better mess with him. Blah, blah, blah. Like, he just started going off, and I was like, man, and what's crazy about it is, I knew Bun, I met Bun, hung out with Bun, and I met Pimp C when he first came home. That was the first time I ever met him. And this was the second time I ever seen him.
That is crazy.
And it was like family. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's how I was always received. Even throughout all the years, it was just like I was the coolest one to be with these guys, and I never got into any trouble, never got robbed, never got, you know what I'm saying? It was just,
that's good.
People take care of you. So,
That's what my dad was saying. My dad was like, and he's always told me, he was like, yeah, Keith is the one that he's good in pretty much any hood. You see him, he's good. Like, he's the one. I said,
yeah.
Look, you could be in Bad Boys.
Yeah, but it's crazy because even when I grew up, it was like being with, like my mother was like one of the baddest chicks in the neighborhood, right? So everybody was trying to holler at my mother. So sometimes it's like they figured how to get at my mother was to treat her kids right, you know what I'm saying? Or look out for her kids. So I always had like these OGs like always watching over me. And then my family was like really cool. So even in places like, if I would go to another hood, I still have family over there or an OG over there that knew me and be like, yo, that kid right there, don't mess with him. So I always had like some type of protection. And then, God always is the number one protector. So, and I've always, thought like, hey, if you treat people with respect, you'll get respect. And,
That's facts.
Sometimes you don't. Sometimes it'll happen and guys just going to try to disrespect you. But for the most part, you treat people good come back to you, So.
Ooh. Okay, this question, I've been thinking about this forever. I love y'all's pieces, and I love the vintage ones especially. Right. Are you guys thinking about bringing any of the vintage collections back?
I don't know. I mean, certain pieces like, Fat Albert, obviously we can't bring that back. Muhammad Ali collection, we can't bring. I mean, we could actually, and it's sometimes when you do it, you kind of want to leave that that standard there. You don't want to go back and touch it and not do it the right way or even water it down. We were lucky enough to work with Bill Cosby, to work with Muhammad Ali, to work with the Harlem Globetrotters. These iconic brands and names of, these influential people of color in our community and that we were raised up. So I don't think we would go back, especially now. It's like, like people say, hey, you should bring this back, you should bring that back. But they're just saying it, until you try to bring it back. And then they like, oh, I ain't really want that anyway, But no, with some of the collections. I mean, sorry, we just did another collaboration with Black Panther, so that was like a merch collection, and then we've done some great collaborations with Puma and Mitchell and Ness, and but for some reason everyone just wants the I guess because it was like Platinum FUBU, it was named Platinum FUBU. Whereas these other collections or collaborations were, basically Puma by FUBU or FUBU by Puma, and I guess people just want to tap into those. And then they was really big, like the clothing, like you would have to resize it, and then if you resize it, will the people still want it? And it's a lot that goes into that, and I think that's just best left alone. The one I really would like to do, honestly, if we could go back and do it again, is our license with the NBA.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
When I tell you, that was just so like my dad would be showing me all this stuff and I'm like yeah. You don't understand, like this is amazing. Like,
yeah, we did some amazing things. And that's why I really can't wait for the documentary to come out either, because it's like a lot of people don't know what we've done. Like they don't, They don't know, or if they do know what we've done, they don't know what we went through to get it done, or they don't know how the uphill and the obstacles and all that stuff that we had to deal with to get it done. Like, it's a lot that a lot of people don't know.
Okay, would you like to shed some light on maybe like one story about something that like you probably never told anybody that you'd be okay with telling us today?
Telling, well, whose show is it? You talk about telling us. No.
Right. Like,
Let me see. Well, you talked about, when we first started getting really popular and we started making a lot of money, people really started coming at us, and that's a standard. Once you start getting popular and you start getting money, people are gonna come at you. But we had people. Well, I'm gonna tell my personal story because I'm gonna save some of that for the documentary. But a friend of mine, a friend I thought was a friend of mine, who I thought was cool, I was cool with, came to my office one day. So when I seen him, he's with another young man. When I seen him, I'm like, "Hey, what's up, man? What's good?" Like, I'm like, "Yo, what brings you up here?" Like, and he's like all stone faced, like, "Yeah, what's up?" So I'm like, I could feel the tension. Like, so I take him in the conference room, sit down with him and his man in the conference room, and he's like, "Yo, the hood gotta eat." I said, "What?" He said, "The hood gotta eat. The hood is starving." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" Like, I was like totally like thrown off, right? So I said, "What are you talking about, bro?" He said, "Yo, I got this tape of you, trying to, I ain't gonna tell the whole story because I gotta save it, but try to kill this other guy, try to set this other guy up to get killed." I'm like, "Bro, what are you talking about?
Right.
I ain't killing nobody. I'm in a
Right.
good space. I'm making money. I'm taking care of my family." So I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So he says, "I got this tape, and if you don't give me $30 million by April 1st, I'm gonna release the tape." So I said, "This is April Fool's joke or something? Like, you fucking with me, right? Like, come on." And he was like, "Nah, man, the hood need to eat." So I was like, I said, "Yo, bro, man, get out of my office, man. Like, get up out of here." I said, "You know how I'm built. Like, we grew up together. I will put paws on you in here, like, for real." Like, and he was like, "Yo, I just need that money, man. You better give me that 30 million." And I'm like, so anyway, make a long story short, I kicked him out. He kept calling and calling and calling, like, every day, like 50 times a day. So I never really had no security. I never had security, put it like that. I ain't gonna say never really. I never had security. Damon had security, and his guy used to cover all of us. So, but if I went this way and Damon went this way, I was without security. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So security, my boy Grim was like, "Yo, what you want me to do with this cat?" I said, "Yo, I don't know, man, but I got to do something because I'm going to wind up hurting this kid." And then he wound up going to my daughter's mother house and knocked on the door. So she called me, and she's like, "Hey, you know this kid?" So I'm like, yeah, I know. Wow, what's up?" He's like, "Oh, he just knocked on my door and said he knew you and this, that, and that." I was like, "What?" So now my daughter's in this house, and I lost it. Like, I was, I've been a street cat since forever, but I was trying to transition into a businessman.
Right.
But I was 1 foot in the street and 1 foot in the business, and that just took me right back to the street. You know what I mean?
Trying to pull you back hard too.
And I went home and, got a few things and went over to my daughter's mother house, and I sat in front of right in front of the house in my car, in my Jeep. And I sat there for like an hour. Then I went to the liquor store because I was going to hurt him. Like, this was going to change the outcome of my life, right? So I went to the liquor store to kind of get, I was like, okay, because my mind was just racing. So I went to the liquor store, got a bottle of Hennessy, drank the whole bottle of Hennessy, and I was drunk straight. I was drunk out of my mind, and I was in a car waiting for like 2-3 hours, and he never came. He never came home, right? So when he didn't come home, I was like, man, let me get out of here, man, because I'm gonna want to kill this dude out here. And, but I was prepared to do it for my daughter. I was like, yo, you're not gonna come to my daughter's house. But I wasn't thinking clearly. First of all, I wasn't thinking clearly. I would have made the biggest mistake of my life. I would have really been screwed. I'd have been in jail to this day. But I left, and I was able to make it home. And when I got home, I was so drunk. I went to sleep, woke up, went to work the next day. And Grim, as soon as I walk in, he says, yo, let me talk to you. I said, what's up? He said, come in, let me talk to you. I go in the room, and he sit me down. He said, yo, what you did last night? I said, why? He said, I just want to know what you did last night. So I told him what I did and what happened. And he was like, I knew you was going to do something. I'm glad you didn't do it. Don't worry about it. I got it from here. And he handled the situation for me, and I ain't never had no more problems.
That's good. Because, look, you know what they say, fathers with daughters. That's one thing you don't play with.
Yeah, and I wasn't having it. But, even now, because I grew up in the business, so I'm able to now understand that the rights from the wrongs, and now I do understand, the choices you make can determine the outcome of your life. I've read enough books and, talked to enough people, so I understand that now. Back then, and this was early, I didn't understand that back then, and then to come to find out, he ain't even had nothing.
So he did all that
He
bluffing.
had something for my man. Was drunk one night talking mess, and that's my man talking. That's not me talking, But and then I had a couple of people. Shout out to my man Chaz, Black Hand Entertainment. He held me down and dealt with the other situation that was that was arising with that. So he handled that from his end. And it was crazy because when he came to see me that day out of the blue, we were talking, and I asked him a question. Yo, you know this kid? This, that, that. He was like, yeah, why, what's up? And I was
he was 10 toes down already.
Yeah, and it was my first time even having this type of, I knew him and we were cool as hell, but I never had no, like, yo, I need your help. And I didn't even tell him I needed his help. I just asked him if he knew somebody. And that's how a conversation started. And then he was like, yo, I'm going to call you later on. I'm going to go deal with that. And he called me about 2-3 hours later and was like, you ain't got to worry about that no more. It's done. And I was like, all right. But these are the type of people that are, that rock with me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a good person and I take care of people and I make sure no matter where you are on that ladder, I'm going to treat you the same. You know what I mean? So, and it comes back. When you do it from from your heart in a genuine way, it comes back to you. So you good.
It comes back multiplied too. And I feel like that's why like y'all have had so much success and like still have success to this day. Because there's like a lot of brands that, like that start and then stop. But like y'all, it's been like years and years and years.
Yeah, I mean, you always have your ups and downs in business. But, we were able to keep the name, keep the trademarks, and keep everything going. And when things wasn't working here, it was working overseas. It slowed down overseas. It started working here. So we've always kind of been blessed. So,
And I love that. Like being a part of the FUBU family is probably one of my favorite things in the world.
Thank you. So tell us where we can find you so they can tap into what you're doing.
On Instagram at Maya Clark with 3 underscores. MAYACLARK and 3 underscores.
Okay. And if y'all need a model out there, make sure y'all tap in with my niece. She's gonna be big in this game in a minute. So you make sure y'all tap in, all right?
Yes.
All right.
Please do.
All right. Hey, thank y'all for tuning into Keeyzo's Corner, and we're gonna, get back to you real soon. All right.
Bye. See you
Peace.
guys.